What movie we watching? Oh, I mean,
Oliver.
yeah.
But we were supposed to watch a
Little
movie.
Mermaid.
Little Mermaid. Welcome to the Magic of Animation, where we explore the enchanting world of Disney, from the classics we grew up with to the latest releases. We'll take a deep dive into the artistry, storytelling, the unforgettable characters, and the pure magic that makes these movies timeless. So whether you're a lifelong Disney fan or new to the magic, sit back, relax, and join us as we embark on our journey through the wonderful, magical world of animation. Hey yo everybody, my name is Joey and this is the Magic of Animation. We are going to be watching, we've already watched actually, Oliver and Company, and I'm joined by Dequan.
Hello.
And Kevin.
Hey there.
And Mike.
Hello.
And I don't know if I've ever said this, but just in case anyone was wondering, and just in case any of you were wondering, the reason why I do it in that order is it's alphabetical. Just in case, Mike, you wondered why you were always last.
Oh, no, I just always, I'm used to being last. I actually almost like being last.
No, I didn't know that was alphabetical. I thought that you were just saying that based off who spoke the first time in the previous pods.
Nope, it was always alphabetical.
Huh.
And that's why on my spreadsheet it goes you, me, Kevin, Mike, because it's alphabetical.
Well, look at you.
Yep.
Wait, then how come you say your name first?
I mean, because I'm the one introducing the podcast.
True.
You could go like,
I'm not
this is
going
the magic of animation, and we have Dino, and we have Joey, and we have Kevin, and we have Mike.
Yeah.
Mike.
That would be quite the intro. I should start
Really
doing that.
amazing intro. Slur everything.
Yeah.
I mean, I pretty much do anyways. So, as I said, we are covering Oliver and Company. This was released by Disney Animation on November 18th, 1988, and it's based on Oliver Twist by Charles Dickens. It had a budget of $31 million. It made $53 million, but then Lifetime, it made $121 million, so it made its money. Any guesses on what the tomato meter is for this movie?
Man, I don't want to go first because I'm always wrong. Somebody else go first.
73.
Okay, since you went first, now I can base my score off of yours. I'm gonna say 79.
Like, what are you thinking?
68.
If we're playing Price is Right, you guys all busted.
Wow.
53.
Jeez.
Man.
That's
Right?
actually
I was
insane.
a lot lower than I thought it was going to be. Do you guys think the audience score is higher or lower?
Higher.
Higher.
Did Mike answer?
What? Higher.
It is higher, 62. Still lower than I would have thought. But,
And they have really bad taste.
and I am now realizing that I skipped over Pooh's 100 Acre Check-In. So let's go back to that. How's everyone's week been? Actually, how's everyone's 2 weeks been?
Very, very sleepless.
Sleep.
If I remember the lyrics of the song, I would have sung the song. But I don't remember the lyrics, so yeah, just sleepless.
Get some sleep, man.
I try.
Okay. Kevin, how's everyone feeling?
Just a little under the weather around here. That's about it.
Yeah, when little ones are sick, it's never fun.
Yeah. Luckily, the baby wasn't sick.
That's good.
But between him being up and me being up already from being sick,
Mm-hmm.
combination was perfect storm.
Right. Mikey.
I'm good. It's been good. It's been chill.
That's good. I don't know. I've been busy. Very busy. Started another podcast. I don't even know if I had another podcast when we last recorded. Going to Disney World. So, just busy. Very busy. Spending way too much money, as always. So, with that, now we go into Timon and Pumbaa's movie review. And the first category we're going to go over, as always, is overall enjoyment. How did you guys enjoy this movie overall?
Way more than I thought I would. I will say my coworker was definitely gassing the movie up, and I'll be honest, I wouldn't say it necessarily met exactly what he was gassing up, but it was close. It was close to it, so I definitely enjoyed it.
Yeah, so I had the same issue that I had with Great Mouse Detective, where the start of this movie I absolutely hated, and I did not want to watch it. But then the second half, because when I originally watched this during our holiday break, I stopped watching it halfway through. I was done with it, but obviously had to finish watching it for this. And I would say not even the second half. I'll say the final third of the movie is all right.
Final third.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. I liked this movie. It wasn't one of the greats, but definitely has its place.
Right.
I enjoyed this a lot. I thought it was really good. I liked the music a lot. Visuals were really good. And overall, I just enjoyed it.
Yeah, I mean, you can't really go wrong with Billy Joel.
I'm going to act like I know who that is and nod my head in agreement to say, yeah.
He played Dodger, and he's one of he's a legend in the music industry.
I see.
Mike knew that.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't like the Piano Man Billy Joel?
Yeah. Yeah, why are you saying that like you're questioning? Don't you know that?
I mean, I'm not the
Everyone
best
knows
with
that,
names.
dude.
Why are you gaslighting me?
That's kind of that's a wild statement to say to a friend.
My first note that I made of this movie was I'm going to rely on you guys more this episode because I hated this movie and had no interest in taking notes.
I am super curious on why you hated this movie.
I think that's what this is going to be. We're going to do a deep dive into Joey's brain.
Things
hatred.
Going into it, things changed, so I didn't hate the end of it. But as the same with Great Mouse Detective, the first half of all of these categories is going to be a lot more negative than the second half of the notes.
Yeah, I'm gonna need all the tea, no crumbs.
Okay. My first actual note of overall enjoyment was I will say that the bond between the homeless man and the dogs was nice.
Mm-hmm.
Like they seemed to really have
can we
care
call
for
him
each
homeless?
other.
He definitely had a home.
I mean, it's not a home that he was paying rent on.
We don't know that.
I guess that's fair.
Like,
That is a fair point.
I mean, wasn't he paying rent though?
He was paying back a loan shark.
he's paying back a loan shark. We don't. I don't know if he was. I want to say he was paying rent on the location that he was at.
I don't.
He's paying rent on life.
I think you guys are reaching. That's the crazy part.
I felt like the audio of the voices didn't really fit the animation of the movie. I've said this before in a different movie, so it seemed like... Are you guys not hearing me?
Nope.
No, what?
The audio in the...
I was trying not to laugh, but like you Autobot it for a second. It was amazing.
That's the auto-tune I put on.
It's amazing. You should do it more often.
So the audio of the voices didn't fit the animation of the movie. I've said that before with another movie. I don't remember which one, but it just felt like the dialogue writers and the animators just were working on different projects and didn't work together.
Yeah, see, I didn't pick up that, to be honest.
Like I said, the first half of my notes are going to be a lot more negative. Dodger catching the glasses and singing with them on was pretty baller, though. I will give them that. We got a Peg, a Jock, and a Trusty Easter egg for a brief second there.
Yep.
Anyone else see Bongo?
Yeah, Bongo.
I did
My
not.
boy.
Oh, you didn't see Bongo?
I did not.
What?
Bro, he's like the most unique dog that's on the screen, bro. He's quite literally a spotted Dalmatian.
All right, I'm looking it up. See where he is.
I'm hurt, bro. He was rearing to go too. I don't know what the heck he's doing over there though.
When they started singing "Why Should I Worry," Joey was like, "Why should I worry about this movie?" Just looked
For
away.
real, bro.
So with that makes my next note even more. That made absolutely no sense on why any of them were there. None of them lived in New York.
They moved,
Man, it's
obviously.
not an Easter egg, man.
Yeah, but Easter eggs kind of have to make sense.
Okay,
Well, if they're on
that's,
vacation.
but that's saying that they have to be in the same universe.
Honestly, Joey, Easter eggs don't have to make sense.
To me, they do. They have to make
They
a little bit of
usually-
sense.
They usually never make sense, actually.
Like there's an
Now
Easter
that
egg in the
I'm thinking
next
about it-
movie that really makes no sense.
Cause like I'm thinking about this, like not just from like cinema, but also video games. Easter eggs don't make sense at all. They're just
When it
cool little
involves
things.
characters, I think it has to make sense. Like in the Pixar movies, when the Lotso ball is everywhere, that's fine. That's an object. But when characters are in it, that's when I'd be like, okay, that makes no sense.
Yeah, the whole purpose of Easter eggs is just to get the person excited. Like, I know that reference. That's what they're for.
Sure. But I did like this Easter egg. Maybe I'm just looking for things that aren't there. But I liked the callback of Thomas O'Malley when Dodger leaned over the car and did that crazy face thing in the windshield, just like Thomas O'Malley did.
Mm-hmm.
Ah, I didn't catch that being a Easter egg or a reference.
Because remember when
Thought he
Thomas
was just
O'Malley
doing
needed to distract
shenanigans.
that truck driver, so he dropped down in the windshield and just went, bleh.
Yep.
Dodger did that while singing, I believe.
Oh.
And the scene where Jenny was going through all the trouble to make Oliver some food was adorable. There's nothing like a child's attachment with their pets.
I'm just saying, in reality, Oliver would be floating with the biblical angels after eating that concoction.
That is the last of the notes that I have for overall enjoyment. So I think I'm going to give my ranking on this, and it's not going to be super great. And I don't have the rankings ready, so someone else
Ooh.
talk.
I'm gonna take a guess. Joey's ranking is gonna be like a 5. That's what I'm suspecting.
Yeah, but he didn't like it at all. So having it as a 5, that seems a little high.
That does seem a little high, but like I don't think that I don't think it's too high because he had some kind things to say about it. Like
Yeah, because he didn't like it, then he did like it. So he's gonna
Yeah,
be in the
like-
middle there.
I think he's gonna wager out. I was gonna say I was gonna say a 4 at first, and I was like, I think a 5 might be it.
I'm
Cause
leaning
see,
more
I-
toward the 4.
Yeah, I was thinking the 4 as well. I was like 5's too high. 4 is right there.
Yeah, so that's fair. That's fair. I thought 4 was just a smidget too low, so I'm like, I'm gonna lean
Wait a
towards a 5.
Wait a minute, guys. There's a hint. You know how he said the last 3/3 of the movie he liked?
Oh my
His
god,
score is a 3.
it's a 3.
I don't think he's gonna dog it that bad.
Oh, I see what you're
You-
doing there.
Are you new here? Hi, welcome. But Joey don't like something that will get ran through the mud.
He's like, I shall drag this.
Though to be fair, the one who's dragged something the most is still me.
And it's going
With,
to forever be you. No one's ever giving anything lower than
Oh, wait till Frozen. I'll drag it even. I'll drag it even harder.
If you give Frozen less than a 20, we're done. We're not doing it anymore.
Yeah, I ain't gonna let you joke. I
we
might
just-
give it Mike.
Record Frozen without Mike.
I'm gonna be that person that never. I'm not even gonna watch it. I'm just gonna pop up to the podcast like, yeah, I hate this.
We'll have a stand-in for Mike. It'll be new Mike.
I'll come in and say 1 to everything, and then leave.
Wow. I can't wait.
So now all you listeners know when this is gonna end.
But whoever said 3 is correct. I'm giving it a 3.
Mike
Hey,
with the
Mike.
lead.
Big brain, let's go! I picked this in. It's not actually the facts, but
So who's next?
I said the reason you said 3 was because you said you liked the last 3/3 of the movie.
Yeah, 3/3 is a full 100, by the way, but I got what you were saying.
You said something about the last
Yeah,
third.
the last third. So that's 1/3, 33%.
Now see, 1 to 3. That's gonna be the only 3 in this ranking.
Yeah, you guys definitely liked it a lot more than I did. Oh, this is the wrong category.
No, I was gonna say I don't see the ranking getting updated.
There we
It's
go.
my thing's just being weird.
Who's next?
I should give my rating. This should come as no surprise to anybody, but I give it a 7.
Nice.
I'm
Why don't I see anything? That is so weird.
gonna give it a 6.
Mike, you know what to do.
I got you. I'm going to give this an 8.
I wasn't expecting that. I like that even
What
more.
was he supposed to do?
I thought he was gonna go lower.
No, I like this movie. I really enjoyed this movie.
No, it was definitely. I definitely enjoyed it too.
Heck yeah. So moving on to storyline and plot. It's a movie about a cat who gets left on the side of the streets of New York, finds a dog, joins his gang.
Wait, got the subplot.
What's the subplot?
The guy, having to deal with a loan shark.
I
That's like
haven't
the
got to
subplot.
that yet, man.
I'm sorry, man. I was jumping the gun.
He finds a dog who has a gang of people. There's a man who makes bad decisions and sells his soul to a loan shark. And then he gets taken by a rich girl, and then they steal him from the rich girl, and then he's trying to get back, but then the rich girl gets stolen by the loan shark. It's just a convoluted mess at the end there, but everyone ends up happy at the end. Did I summarize that all right?
Yeah, I would say yeah.
I think for being based off of Charles Dickens' Oliver Twist, I think it was a good twist on it.
This guy.
Oh,
This guy's got away with words. I don't know how he does it. It's just
Can I
his
say
brain.
something?
Yes, this is a podcast where everyone has the freedom to say whatever they want, as long as it's not F words.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll just say that 5 more times around now. No, I blame Garfield.
huh?
I blame Garfield why he wasn't picked. He was the only orange cat.
Oh,
I blame Garfield why he was not picked, and why even after, all the cats have been picked out, and there was a bunch of people walking by, ain't not one person picked that cat up. I blame Garfield.
When did
The thing
Garfield
that
come
kills me
out?
about that too is
Chris
the fact
Pratt.
that
Garfield ruined it.
Oh,
Just
the
saying.
Chris Pratt.
Chris Pratt, Garfield.
The Chris
Ruined that
Pratt
cat's life.
Garfield coming out in 2024 ruined the 1988 Orange Cat.
You ain't know
That's
Chris
right.
Pratt was a time traveler.
Gotcha. Hey, that makes sense.
He's Mario, and he is Garfield.
So, tangent. I don't mind him as Garfield because I never really watched any Garfield cartoons. The only exposure I have to Garfield is Bill Murray in the live action movie, and Chris Pratt doesn't sound that much different than Bill Murray, so I don't mind him as Garfield. But that's just me. I hated him as
Sure.
Mario. I'll give you guys that.
I just like
Mario-
the memes. I don't really have an opinion either way. I just find the memes funny.
Dodger had a great plan to steal those hot dogs. but then was a turd and wouldn't share.
Yeah.
He never had intention to share.
That's a good point.
He's a scammer.
Yeah. I really love Tito not being afraid of the Dobermans. Those were Dobermans, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Was his name Tito?
Yes.
Yes. I originally wrote it as Chico, but then a couple scenes later I was like, I don't think they're saying Chico.
That was a different movie known as Cats and Dogs.
I don't know that movie.
It was a beaut.
Okay. I like the dynamic of the bad guy that also had dogs to go up against the good guy who had dogs. So each the humans had a conflict and the dogs had conflict. I thought that was.
I would say this. I hated that dynamic for one reason. Like, I could understand, the guy getting bullied by the loan shark. I mean, after all, he's pretty much a mob boss. What it seems like, at least.
Mm-hmm.
He has a gun. But, like, why are the dogs afraid of the other two dogs? It's like 5 of you down there. Like, you got the number advantage.
But
like,
they're
you're
huge.
It's a matter of like what kind of dog.
Francis. Francis was jacked.
Francis is a bulldog. Not going to do much against a Doberman.
And two of them.
I mean, once again, they have the numbers. All they need is like 2 to go for the leg, and then 2 other ones go for the other one's leg. They had the numbers, the number advantage. They had it.
In the animal kingdom, it kind of like a tiger is really big, and if it goes up against a domestic house cat, the size kind of matters there. The tiger's going to win.
Okay, see, that difference.
Yeah, even if there's 5 of them, even if there's 5 cats.
that is such an extreme jump, because those Dobermans were not much bigger than a few of those other dogs. There was a Great Dane there.
There's so many different ways of a dog breed. Like, some are not built to be powerhouses. Like, Dobermans are bred. They're just genetic freaks. They're powerhouses. A bulldog is not going to do anything against a Doberman.
Not by himself.
Whatever the heck Dodger isn't going to do anything. A Chihuahua is not going to do anything.
Hey, look, you say they're not going to do anything. All it takes is a little tactical attacks, and they've proven themselves to be very tactical.
Yeah, and they win
Tito
at the end.
Go for the eyes, bro, or the nose, like little Oliver did.
And they come through at the end, so obviously it came down to smarts.
Yeah.
But
I think it also depends on if he's a fighter. Is he a fighter type? He might be built big, but Francis.
Oh,
no, Francis.
Francis. No, he's most certainly not a fighter type.
See, so that's one down.
I feel like the main reason that they never did anything is because they allowed the fear of them being bigger than them scare them. I think that's the main reason they didn't do anything. Because, I mean, even when you, the one scene where, I don't know the dog's name, the terrier, when he was fighting both of them by himself, he wasn't doing too bad. For a 1v2, he still lost, but he handled his own for a good period of time. Now imagine if it was 5 of them.
One's not a fighter. One's a pipsqueak that would get probably smacked away. The other one was older, so he wasn't really always fully there. They had to keep telling him to do things. So the only one that would really help is the I actually have no clue what kind of dog she was.
I don't know what breed she is either. I was trying to figure that out. I could have looked it up, but I was trying to see if I knew by knowledge. I couldn't figure it out.
So those are the only 2 that would have fought, and I don't really know if they would have won. It's kind of like we could win, or it could go really bad, and then might even go really bad for him. Like the homeless guy.
Never back a dog never back an animal into a corner. They become to be much more, devious and dangerous than you can imagine.
Hey, I'm just saying, in the 3 days, that Doberman's nose healed completely from that claw attack.
I'm going to blame that on animation.
Yeah.
No, that's a superhuman dog right there.
In a couple
Superhuman
movies.
dog. He got healing abilities. He's like Wolverine out here.
Nah, if you got healing abilities, then I absolutely agree with you three.
See,
In,
they had Wolverine even before they got Wolverine.
in a couple movies, Tarzan's going to get clawed by a jaguar, and then the very next scene, there's going to be no remnants of it.
Superhuman. I mean, he's a man who lived out in the jungle, and yet he only had long dreadlocks.
Mm-hmm.
He had no beard, no other like that's some superhuman ability right there. No other type of like he didn't have arm hair, leg, nothing. No beard, nothing.
Fair point.
I thought of something. When you said that, Mike. But I'm just gonna say, Joey, send us to the next topic.
We're not done with this topic.
Okay. Guide us through this topic.
Jenny and Oliver's relationship, I feel, was the best part of the movie.
Really?
That's what I liked their dynamic. I liked I liked the scenes in the mansion.
Man, I feel like I'm picking fights with you this episode because I absolutely disliked it, dude. Like, I did not like I didn't hate their relationship, but I didn't like it either. It just felt like flushed. Like it didn't feel like the same where, he met, the gang. Like that felt more like organic. The Jenny one and Oliver just seemed like boom, cat, little girl, love each other. Like,
Well,
there
I
was
think
no,
it's because she immediately took to the cat, and then the cat grew to like her because she was taking such good care of him.
or he grew to like her the moment she put food in this bowl. I ain't gonna lie. I take back everything I said. That's real life. Animals be like that. You put food in my bowl, I love you.
Yeah. The part when the butler comes out of the house and sees Francis laying there and playing up his injuries again, just imagine what he was thinking in that moment. He's like, I hit this dog yesterday, and he came back and found me and is playing up his injuries again.
I
And then he
didn't
licks him
even
again.
notice that.
I was thinking that too. I was like, man, he should be thinking, why does this dog got a grudge out for me?
Trying to
How
get
did you
him.
find where I live? What is this?
Right? That would be crazy. Fagin was a real DB, writing a ransom note for a kitten to a little girl. Man,
Well, he didn't know it was a little girl.
that's
he thought
true.
it was a
He
rich
didn't.
family.
That's true. He didn't know that. I'll give
Yeah.
him that. He didn't know that.
And then even when he
He
found
didn't know.
out, he was like, oh, like you see him like struggling, like, oh, I can't even do this.
Yeah.
Dude had a heart of gold.
Yeah, I guess. The scene when Sykes sets the Dobermans on Dodger and Dodger is fighting them while I misspelled something there, so I'm not even going to attempt to what I was trying to say. But it was supposed to be more suspenseful, but it just didn't feel very suspenseful to me. That
Really,
fight
I'm not
scene.
gonna lie. That scene was very suspenseful for me. It was. I don't know if I would say suspenseful, but it was definitely angering. So I'm like, dude, get your freaking words out, please. The dog is suffering because you can't get your words out.
Okay, you saying that made me realize what my note was supposed to say. It said facing, but it was supposed to say Fagin. So Fagin was pleading with Sykes, right? Is that his name?
Pleading.
And he was like, he was pleading like there was life and death, but it just didn't feel very suspenseful to me. Clearly it was, because those dogs would have killed Dodger, but...
You know, they were kind of tossing my boy.
And then I really didn't like that Jenny decided to go look for that cat by herself. That's a freaking horrible, horrible decision.
I mean, her parents weren't around to help.
And retrospective is, what's his name? Winston? Was that his name?
The butler? I don't know.
I'm going to say it was Winston. It definitely started with a W. But it's Winston's fault. How did you allow her to get out the house?
Yeah.
I mean, kids sneak out.
Okay, you're right, but like, look how long she was gone for, and he didn't know?
You were correct. It
I
was
mean,
Winston.
He could have been out looking for her. I'm not saying he was. I'm just saying he could have been. He just didn't go the right direction. I mean, he didn't know any of that was going on. I mean, at least I don't think. Maybe he did, but they never elaborate that he did. So
Yeah, no, that's fair. That's fair.
in context and knowledge, he doesn't know. He probably went out there, walked down the street. He's going up and down the street, And he's like, I can't find it. And then he's like, maybe got PTSD from seeing Francis, the dog. And he's like, is that dog going to show up again? What if the dog took her? Oh, no.
And then Sykes kidnaps Jenny for ransom because of Fagin failing to get his ransom. And that's a very dark story beat.
Yeah, that's indeed true.
Yeah, but I mean, the movie needs a story.
Yeah, well, yes.
I would say,
Right.
oh, go ahead, Mike.
I was gonna say my only issue with that is so when he looks at the collar, right, and he takes an interest in it, that makes me think. So he might know where that house is, who owns that house, right? Who are the parents? I wish they kind of dwelled even just a slightest bit into the slight relationship between him and her parents to why he would go through this trouble.
So when I saw that, what I thought is that he just recognized the address or the street and knew that that was a wealthy area.
Oh,
You
that
know
could
what?
have
That's
actually
fair
been
enough.
it too. Maybe I thought too deeply into it. I thought it was
But-
like, oh, he knows them. He knows they have money. He's got something he wants. He wants the money from them, and so he took that as like that's my personal strike back at them.
Right. I mean, that would be cool.
A thing I want to touch on too is like him taking her for ransom. Like kind of like how you feel about the whole like Dodger fighting the two Dobermans. I didn't feel much suspense. Like with him taking her, like yeah, it's a dark story beat, but at the same time, like it's like there was no like fear or suspense behind it because
It didn't feel like she was
the
in any
dude
danger.
just wants his money. He's not gonna do anything like
Yep.
to her because if he did, he's not gonna get his money.
Right.
And like it's different when it was, Fagin. Like he was definitely gonna off Fagin, like without a doubt.
Yeah.
But like her, I didn't get that same energy at all. So I'm just like, okay. He's just making sure nobody gets to her. He's making sure that,
Yeah, so it almost
gets
makes
what he gets.
it almost makes you think that if they would have had him take Fagin at the end and then the dogs convinced, well, that would have
Yep.
been very irresponsible of Jenny to go help the dogs get Fagin back. But Jenny didn't need to be involved in the end. All the animals could have just went for him, I guess.
True.
Because then you would have had real suspense because he doesn't like Fagin.
All right. I think I would have had more suspense if he would have like took Oliver instead. Like because then like I can actually see him wanting to feed Oliver to the Dobermans.
Yeah, I guess. Georgette's story was honestly a pretty good one too. She was a pretty bad person at the beginning because she was a stuck-up star, and the new pet was added to her life without warning. She was angry and acted out because of it, got the cat taken away, but she went with Jenny to find Oliver on the dock. That has to count for something. Then when Jenny was taken, she completely flipped and was all about getting her back. She was warming up. Sorry.
Okay. No, you're fine. You're fine.
She was warming up to Tito, and she was instrumental in helping them save Jenny. By the end of it, she even came around to liking Tito. She is the only character with a character arc, but then they kind of ruined it by her being a bad person again when Tito ran away from her.
So the thing I wanted to touch up on that character is the elephant was the whole breeding thing. That like when she was singing, I was like, "Excuse me." I was like, what? They just slapped that in here? I'm like, okay, that threw me off. And then like all the portraits of all the other dogs, but the other thing when you were talking about like her, going with Jenny and then wanting to defend and save Jenny and whatnot, like I like that they did that because no matter how stuck up she was and how she viewed herself and viewed the other dogs, it kind of goes back into like a dog's mental programming, loyal to a fault. And I found that that's really cool that they worked that in.
Yep. The final chase scene was terrible. I have more notes on that later, but Dodger straight up killed those dogs.
Oh yeah, absolutely. The first one had it the bad, the worst. I mean, I was like, dang, bro, he's gone.
And we had another Disney fake death with Oliver.
You skipped over Mr. Longshark being turned into smithereens.
Yeah, his car blew up, didn't it? He got hit by a train? Is that what happened?
Yeah, he got hit by a train entirely and just turned to vapor dust.
The butler allowed this random, well, I guess I'm not going to call him homeless because we discussed that maybe he's not, this random man to attend Jenny's birthday.
Which was cool.
I don't think that's cool at all.
I mean, he showed his character and his colors.
Not to the
and whatnot.
butler. I wouldn't believe Jenny that man was a good man. She'd be like, I met this guy at the dock and we hung out. I'd be like, you are getting away from him right now.
Yeah,
that's pretty judgmental of you, bro.
I don't care.
Right I would say that also, let's just throw a little bone here, no pun intended. Fancy, very bougie dog. Didn't snarl at him, didn't snap at him, and the dog's judge of character is very highly valued.
I suppose so. That's fair. And then the last storyline note that I have is Jenny was kidnapped and her parents couldn't even be bothered to be home.
Which is insane. But then again, Winston didn't even try to call them.
On screen, he didn't. Who knows what happened off screen?
No, on screen, like, the loan shark was talking to him on the phone, and he was like, I don't care, get them on the phone.
Oh, was he talking to Winston? I guess that makes sense.
Yeah, he was talking to Winston.
Mm-hmm.
And Winston, for some, I don't remember exactly what Winston said, but it seemed like Winston was reluctant to call them for some reason. But I'm like, dude, you better call them. Like, that's your job on the line too, and her life.
Yeah,
maybe they were busy, and he was like saying, "I'm trying to get them."
Oh, possibly.
I didn't pick up on that. If he just was like, I don't want to bother them, that's pretty bad on him.
Right. I don't remember exactly what he said on the phone to the loan shark. I don't remember exactly what he said, so I can't give that, credible information.
I don't remember them really showing him or playing him, like his voice saying anything. I mostly just remember it being like the dude talking. He's like, I don't care, Winston, get them on the phone.
Yeah,
right?
That's what I remember. Yep.
So it's like, you can't really say what was being said from his end. He could be saying like, I'm trying, but they're not picking up. And then him, wanting the money, being like, I don't care, get them on the phone.
Right.
I don't care if you can't get them on the phone. Get them on the phone.
And as much as a villain he is, I appreciate his level of villainy, because in other cartoon medias or live action movies, when a person does not get what they want, they proceed to do things to the victims that they have, whether making them scream in some way or another to make the urgency of the situation, more extreme. But he didn't do that. And I'm like, kudos to you for not doing that. You still did a bad thing by kidnapping her and exploiting, a guy with low money, but, kudos on you for that little bit.
Well, there's the thing that, what is it, honor among thieves, where there's an unwritten rule on what is honorable for bad people to do. Like, there's bad people out there, but a lot of them won't do anything to women or children, and then people that do end up getting messed up in prison.
True.
So I'm going to give the storyline, honestly, there's so much of it that I don't like, and it's really only the scene after Oliver gets kidnapped where it starts picking up, so I'm going to give it a 3.
Oof. I will give the storylining I'm going to give that a 7 as well, because I think it was pretty good, but it wasn't great, and it did have some dry spots, but I overall did enjoy it. It actually kept me, interested.
I think it deserves a good 5. Right down the middle.
Right down the middle. Mike.
We're doing storyline and plot, right?
Yes, sir.
I kind of have a little bit of a hard time with it, because on one hand, it's an entertaining movie to watch, but as far as like its point in the story, I kind of feel like it goes a little too like all over the place. I feel, because it could, when you watch the beginning, it could almost play off like it's like about a cat finding its home, and it technically is about that. But then you got all these other plots in there which kind of like seem to throw it off kilter at points. I don't know. It also kind of does keep it in line. But since I enjoyed it, I'll give it a 7. I'll give it a 7.
All right.
Like, I can't go higher than a 7.
Right.
But 7 is good.
Next up is characters. I'm going to try to go through this one quickly so that we can maybe get through some of these topics quicker than that one took us. So they had some big names in this movie. They had Joey Lawrence. They had Cheech from Cheech and Chong. They had Bette Midler. They had Billy Joel, which obviously Mike's a big fan of Billy Joel.
Biggest fan, actually.
I'm
the number 1 fan.
That is a stellar lineup of actors and actresses.
I'm gonna be honest. I don't know any of them.
You've never heard of Cheech and Chong?
I've heard of them, but like usually actors go in my head on one side of my ear and then goes out the other side.
Then Joey Lawrence isn't he part of the Lawrence brothers where they were like really big in the 80s?
I don't know.
And then Bette Midler played, what is her name? Why can't I think of it? I'm blanking on it. The leader of the Sanderson sisters in Hocus Pocus.
I'm drawing a blank.
Kevin doesn't even know this? There's Mary, Sarah, and why can't I remember the third one? That sucks. The design of the animals were really good. The animation style, I think, worked well with them. I think.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, did I lose you guys?
No, we're here.
The hot dog guy was a god-awful design. It's awful. Everything about the hot dog.
What? That was a
What do you mean?
perfect design.
That's a typical New Yorker right there.
Yeah, the design was perfect.
Tito had an awesome design. I thought Rita was terribly designed. Why did she look like a guitarist from an 80s hair band?
She's a poodle.
She wasn't. She was
sorry. I mixed Rita up with the other individual. I liked Rita's design, though.
I think Fagin had an awful design.
Well, when did the movie come out?
88.
I guess that makes sense then.
Yeah. So I think this movie is stuck in the 80s. There's so much about it that when you watch it, it's just you immediately smacked in the face with the 80s.
But I don't think that's a bad thing. I personally think that gives it its own charm. It keeps it that it's like, this is from that time period. And it kind of lets you be able to experience it in a way. You get to kind of see what it was like.
I guess. The bad guy had a bad design, but he was pretty menacing. Georgette, I think, had a good design and a good voice. And then Jenny's design, I guess, was okay. And that's all I have for characters. So,
Characters, I liked pretty much. I don't think it was a character I actually disliked, to be honest. Like, I liked a lot of the characters' designs and whatnot. I would say that, I don't think there's a character design I generally disliked. So I don't really have much to say on the characters either.
Yeah, I think there's enough for me to like to give it a 5 or a 6. I think I'm going to give it a 6 because of some of the characters I liked a lot.
I again will drop another 7.
Nice.
Characters, I am gonna go with a 6.
I'm gonna go an 8.
Nice. Okay. So next up is visuals and animation. I think the opening scene of New York was awful. Might be the worst animation of any movie so far. The animals were fine, but everything else was terrible.
I really enjoyed the art in the opening sequence.
Likewise.
Absolutely hated it.
Man.
I say the only thing I hated per se was the fact that it felt more like a Saturday morning cartoon
Right.
more
Yeah,
so than a
exactly.
movie.
It looked like
But
an old school cartoon instead of
yeah,
a
but that doesn't
featured
mean
animation movie.
yeah, but that doesn't mean that it's bad. I still really liked it. It's just the fact that it makes me mad because I will want this as a cartoon series. Kind of like how Lilo and Stitch spun off into their own cartoon series. I would have liked this to be a cartoon series because of how the animation was done. And the other thing I would say that this shouldn't bother me, but it did. All the Coke product placement. Jesus Christ.
Wait, there was Coke, but wait, what?
Everywhere, dude. It was everywhere.
Okay,
And then like one Yamaha. Like there was only one Yamaha like product placement, but everything else was Coke.
I'm be real. I didn't see any. I didn't see any Coke placement. I don't know. That went over my head. Like, whoosh.
It was on billboards. It was on signs. It was a scene where it was a garbage can and there was a crushed Coke can right in front of the garbage can. I'm like,
Yeah, there's
how much money did Coke put into this?
There was a lot of Coke references. There was a truck. There was billboards in Times Square, like Dequan said. There was some taxi cabs that had it. Garbage, signs. The sign with Pongo had a sign behind them.
They really say, yeah, this is the Coca-Cola part of the series.
But going off my last no, everything was just awful, even down to the small stuff. Like when Oliver was running away from the dogs at the very beginning, he hops the fence, and the dogs start jumping on the fence to make it wobble. And then they show Ollie running away with the fence in the shot, and it wasn't shaking anywhere near as violently as it should have been because of how the dogs were jumping on it. It was just slowly shaking.
You may remember something else about the animation that I actually will say that I hated, and it was the scene where the fancy poodle was singing and whatnot, and she was near the windowsill singing. That one white dog was animated so aggressively rough when he was climbing up people. I'm like, what is going on here? Like everybody else is animated in this design and art style with sketching. It's like they rough draft and just splattered him in there. He was so out of like, it was weird. It was ugly.
I did like there were some, like Kevin, you were saying you liked the art, vibe of it. There were certain shots where if you made that like a painting and hung it up in your Disney room, that'd be cool. Like when Oliver was under the Yankees hat. That's a pretty cool shot. But just not for a whole movie. But I did enjoy the animated shots of the people from Oliver's point of view, where you could only see their legs. I didn't like the animation of it. I just liked the decision to do that. The scene of Dodger singing in traffic and Oliver chasing him was pretty good, but when the 100 dogs joined them, it ruined it. I was like, that makes no sense. Why are all these dogs just having a
There's only one thing. Oh, sorry.
No, I'm done. You're good.
I was gonna say, this is the only thing that ruined it for me was the fact that sausage, those hot dogs he was carrying, were not only repeatedly dragged on ground, but they were then dragged through cement. And I was just thinking, though, I couldn't stop thinking, bro, you are dragging those hot dogs through cement. I don't care what you say or do that you're like, oh, I'm washing them. Those are bad. Those are now absolutely horrible. And you're going to feed those to your friends.
You know what's funny about that, Mike? My niece was in the room watching with me for a short period of time, and she brought this up. She was like, what happened to the rest of the sausage? And I was like, hold on a second, you're right. Because when he first grabbed it, it was a lot of them. And as he progressively traveled, the number decreased.
Well, he ate
Well,
them.
they were falling off because he was dragging them through the cement.
Yeah. I just assumed he ate them because when he brings them back, he doesn't eat one. He leaves them all for everyone else to eat.
That's a good attention to detail there, guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then again, I miss Coke placement products. I missed every single one. I can't even be like, where was one?
It's better that way, I promise you.
The shot of the bad guy's car on the dock, that was the big CGI moment of the movie, I believe, and it sucked. I did really like the animation shot of Jenny playing the piano, and it was like panning around her, and Oliver was playing peekaboo. That was a great scene. That scene right there solidified that I was like, this dynamic between these two is the movie. Because I thought that that was cinematography gold right there. You guys know what I'm talking about.
It hit him right in
the
heart, and the feels, the cuteness got him.
But just the way that to make a 360 panning animation shot back then must have taken hours and hours to do.
They did kind of a half one with the car.
Well, that was also CGI, so they did that with the computer. You lose points for computer generated. A small bit of attention to detail when Georgette was getting mad at Oliver. If you noticed, the hair on the back of her neck started to stand up. I was like, wow, that's really cool.
Which is odd. More of a cat behavior than a dog behavior.
I think it's all. I think. I don't know. I'm not a biologist. I don't know.
I've never witnessed it, but I'm not gonna disclose that. So there could be a possibility.
Now, hear me out here. The car chase scene at the beginning when they left the warehouse and they're driving on the bridge away from the warehouse and you get the view of the city behind the warehouse. That is potentially the worst scene in any movie we have watched so far. That was so bad.
Wait, can you repeat that for me one more time? What was it?
So they're leaving when the chase scene's happening, when he's on his little moped, which I have a problem with that I don't know why I didn't make a note. How was he outrunning him? But whatever. When he's leaving the warehouse on his little scooter, and then the car comes out behind him, and then they show them getting farther away from the warehouse and the city behind it, and they're on a bridge or something. That whole scene is awful.
So why is it awful though?
The way that the way that the warehouse looked, the way that the city looked in the background, none of it like gelled together. I can't explain it. It's just really bad. There was no field of view depth perception. It just looked like a piece of paper on top of a piece of paper on top of a piece of paper.
So the only thing I would say I have an issue with that scene is when the one dog starts well, first off, the one thing of how the heck is that car not caught up to this little moped?
Awful.
That not awful, but questionable. Like something seems weird there. And that how come when the bike goes on the tracks, none of its wheels have to get destroyed, but the car's wheels have to sit there, tear itself apart, and then start going and then conducting electricity. Like not like just like, oh, there's like static electricity or something in there. It's literally like charging up like a Chidori or something from Naruto. It's like lightning bending. I don't think that's how that works.
Yeah,
the tracks are already electrified.
Yeah, that's how the subways work.
But do you visually see blue lightning?
Maybe not.
Just staticking. That's what I'm getting at. They over here doing the fire-bending lightning shot.
Yeah.
And then, how did the dog make the bike pop up?
Right.
Onto the thing to go up I'm trying to think of how to say it, like railing,
the suspension.
Wire. Yeah. Go up the suspension and then peacefully go down without tilting over. That's some skill. That dog can drive. That's some skill.
I have a note that says they were able to defy physics and jump out of the way of the train.
I was gonna let y'all cook, but y'all not gonna come at my man Tito like that.
Tito's
He
great.
really the number one pilot out here.
That's what I'm saying. That's some crazy skill. I don't know how he got that or learned, but that's crazy.
And then another
Like,
problem,
Mario Kart 64.
another problem with that scene is that giant car was able to bob and weave the exact same way that little tiny scooter was able to.
well, it is a fancy. It's a fancy, rich Lone Star car. It could probably do a lot of things, like conduct blue electricity and lightning.
You guys know
You
that these
can
are
physically
talking
see.
animals, right?
Your point? Well, actually, no. That's not right. That's not right. They're talking to each other.
Within their own
They never
universe.
talk to the
Yeah.
people.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
it's translated for us, but they're speaking in their language.
Mhm.
So no, they're not really talking dogs. They're just making it to where you can understand them.
Mm-hmm. Boom. Roasted.
yeah, you're right.
And then my final note is the Doberman fight scene seemed like it was CGI as well, and it was pretty good. But the scene was still stupid. So, for visuals and animation, this is getting a very low score for me. 2.
Visuals and animation. So I was in the middle of a yawn.
Yeah.
I didn't want to speak when yawning. It would have sounded all bad. It would be like, didn't want to do that. So visual and animation, like, again, I'm going to be real with you. I'm throwing another 7. I promise you, I'm not just throwing 7s blindly. It's just I can't go any higher, but I can't go any lower.
Right.
I'm going with 5.
Boom. Kevin's got a pattern going. 6-5, 6-5.
I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go with an 8.
I was about to say Mike could have one going too with an 8-7, 8-7, but he went 8-7, 8-8.
I was thinking of going with a 7, but I was like, I actually generally liked all the animation. I didn't really think anything on the animation was technically wrong.
So music, soundtrack, the opening song sucked. Okay.
Wait, repeat that again?
I said the opening song sucked.
I'm trying to remember what the opening song was.
I don't remember
Wasn't it just
either.
about like this is New York?
Yeah, something about New York.
I know they repeated that. I'm not gonna lie. I can't say it sucked.
It was mid.
I can't say it. It kind of gave me back like this feeling of like watching like older movies like that, because I grew up watching stuff like that with my dad. Those like 80s movies that have that same kind of like intro, things like that. Like, trying to think of one of them. I can't think of one right now, but that same kind of like when they take place in New York, they have that same kind of like vibe. And I don't know, I kind of just I enjoyed it. I liked it. So I didn't think it was terrible. It's not memorable by any means. Out of all the songs, that is the probably lower end ones, because I can't even really recall much of it. I just remember they were talking a lot about New York.
Yeah. Why Should I Worry is really good, but it's Billy Joel, so that shouldn't be a surprise. Maybe to Mike, but
I like that song from the beginning. I don't need someone's name to be on there to be like, oh, it's automatically going to be good. I'm gonna hear it and be like, that is good.
it was a great
They'll
song.
be like, you know,
That
it's
is
a famous
good song.
person. Didn't even need to be a famous person. It's a good song.
That song is on my
Barry?
Disney playlist, and this is the first time I've ever seen Oliver and Company, so I knew it was good before I even seen the movie.
Barry Manilow composed this soundtrack.
Wow.
Let's go, Barry.
Yeah, he did a good job. Because it's not just the singing; it's like just the instrumental to it is just it's catchy. It's so enjoyable.
Yeah. So this is a bit of a nitpick here. Rita was singing a song, and they showed all the dogs singing with her, but there were 0 deep voices in the background. So they definitely were not singing. And how I know this is because at the end, they show them all singing again, and their voices are very distinct. You can hear Tito singing. You can hear Francis singing. You can hear Dodger.
I like how they did that too at the end. Like, they layered it very uniquely.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know, Dodger was singing first, and then Rita comes in and sings, and her vocals are falling off the beat of his. That way you can distinctively hear her more, and then her vocals get on the same track as his, and then Francis comes in and his is off the beat as well, and then eventually lands on the track and so on and so forth until they're all like harmonizing. That was really cool.
Yep.
So I think it's cool for the meaning of like with all of them, coming together, they all get their part, and they even kind of, if I'm remembering correctly, they changed the lyrics to say "Why should we worry?" to it, because they're all now singing together, and I'm like, I like that for the idea, but as a song that I would listen to, I'm going with "Why Should I Worry?"
Oh yeah,
because it just sounds better as a song. And as the singing, it sounds better. And it kind of sucks because I was like, okay, maybe I might like the second one better. And no, I did not. But its meaning gives it more bonus points.
Georgette's song was awful, although there was a pretty funny part when like all the dogs are coming to her because they are in love with her. There's a dog dragging his doghouse to get to her. And I thought that was pretty funny. So with that, man, the music, I think the score is okay. Why Should I Worry is fantastic. So I think I'm going to give it a very generous 4, and I even think that might be too high.
For the first time, it would not be getting a 7 from me. It would be getting a 5.
I'm also going with a 5.
Ooh, he broke the pattern.
I'm stuck between if I want to give it a 6 or a 7.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Well, because I liked a lot of the music. I generally think there's only like 1 or 2 songs out of it that I'm fighting for last. And they're not terrible. They're just not really my thing. I personally don't really care for them. But I like the 2 songs. I'll give it a 7. Why not? I'm gonna give it a 7.
Nice.
Because the songs that are good, they are really good. Like they just do a good job at carrying. And there's like, I think 2 or 3, and then there's like a few that they're just okay, but they're not bad. They don't really hinder it as much in my mind.
Next up is humor, and this might be my shortest humor notes ever. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 notes, and that's it.
Wow.
Hang on, I'm doing something real quick. Do you guys have anything to say about humor?
I do.
I actually chuckled. That's it.
It's funny because that's the opposite. I don't think I chuckled at all during this movie. I didn't find anything really funny. Nothing really made me chuckle or smirk or anything like that. I enjoyed the movie very much so. I enjoyed watching the movie. I just didn't see or witness any real scene that would have made me chuckle or laugh or anything like that. At least none that I can recall. Maybe if someone says one and I'll be like, oh wait, yeah, there was that moment. But as far as recalling back to a memory from just watching it, nothing.
So it was 14 minutes. I looked at the timestamp before there was a mildly funny moment. The back and forth between Francis and Tito calling him Frankie. I liked that. Oliver falling through the rafters at the climax of Dodger's story and scaring them all was okay.
All right.
Tito getting mad at Francis for breathing in his hair, that was kind of funny. It was a small detail when Fagin was reading them a story. But that was good. I did laugh when the big dog, I don't remember his name, the Great Dane, when he was walking into the street and he just walked right into the limo. Slapstick humor's kind of my jam.
Yeah, slapstick humor's cool.
I loved when Tito got electrocuted. That was funny. And my last note was...
Which one?
He got electrocuted more than once?
Yes, he mentions too that he doesn't want to get electrocuted again. And then Miss Fancy Poodle talked him into it by saying nice things to him.
Okay. But when he got launched out of the limo is when I was referring to.
Ah, okay. Yeah, no, that was pretty funny.
And then the dogs hiding in Georgette's room was mildly funny, especially Rita when she was pretending to be one of the statues.
Yeah, like again, like what you were saying with the Tito thing on the getting electrocuted. That was one of the moments that made me chuckle. Not necessarily him getting electrocuted, but Dodger saying you're supposed to keep an eye on him. And he's like, it's hard to keep an eye on someone when you're being barbecued. And I'm like, that made me chuckle.
Right. I'm debating between a 2 and a 3. I gave the Black Cauldron a 2. I feel like Black Cauldron was funnier than this movie, but then again, maybe it wasn't. I give it a 3.
Oddly enough, that's the same number I give it too.
I mean, it's not a comedy, so... But...
Yeah.
Well, Dino, I'm curious because you said that you actually chuckled during this movie, and you, if I remember, have gone on record saying you don't really find a lot of the past Disney movies like super funny.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm curious, what were the points that were like I actually chuckled? Like what ones? Was there anything in particular that you would point out?
Well, I did point out not too long ago when he got electrocuted, and he says, and Dodger's like, "Hey, you're supposed to keep an eye on him." And he's like, "It's hard to keep an eye on someone when you're being barbecued." That was one of the moments. I forgot the other moments. I'm gonna be honest with you, I forgot the other moments, but that was definitely a highlighted moment for me.
Okay,
but there was a few times I chuckled, and my niece looked at me all confused, like, "What are you chuckling about?"
Kevin, what do you give it?
Okay.
I'll stay on trend. I'm going with the 3.
Nice. Mike, what are you going to do? Are you going to give it its first 0 of the episode? Or
I won't give it a
first
0. Nah. 20.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
No, I'm gonna probably give it. You mentioning some of the moments is like, okay, I could have seen that being funny. It just didn't make me laugh, so I'm gonna give it a 1 because I can recognize that there was moments in there that were trying to be, like the electrocute one. Yeah, I could see it. It just for some reason it didn't hit me. I was just like, oh dang,
Right.
boy got zapped.
It was his voice. That's what it was. It was the voice and delivery. Like if another dog would have done it, it wouldn't have hit nearly as well.
So next up is world building. I think the old boat hangout was awful. And then why was the dock so tall above it? New York
Yeah, I didn't like that.
isn't mountainous, so it should have been level. It shouldn't have been that tall. And then Georgette's bed was stupid. That's my only notes for world building. You guys
I
can go ahead.
loved her bed, dude. It was so regal.
Her overly fancy,
Yeah, it
powered
was
up with the
perfect.
spiral staircase and the thing.
Yeah.
I can't hate on it because it's exactly like what a rich family would do for their dog. They do every type of show or movie does that. The dog has so much spoilage to it like that I'm like, I'm not even surprised. It doesn't surprise me that a rich family would be more, as bad as it may sound. It's a stereotype and a trope for a lot of things to be like, yeah, the dog almost has more attention and love than the actual child does.
Yep.
They probably had the dog longer, maybe. Who knows?
But like that, and the fact that like it also plays into her personality. She thinks so highly of herself, and that she's above everybody, so she's consistently looking down on people.
So, do you want to know something funny? You say that, Mike. My aunt and uncle, they have a cat. They love the cat, like, so much. My aunt made a cake for it for its birthday. And my aunt also gets a custom calendar made every year. And she puts everyone's birthdays in it like you can do. And my uncle was looking through it, and he was like, my birthday's not in here. So he's like, you made a cake for the cat, but you can't remember my birthday.
That's
tough.
see, we got physical evidence right here. Case closed. There was no case open.
But yeah, I don't think the world building was great. The only monocle of world building is during Why Don't You Worry. Wait, is that what it's called? Why does that sound wrong? What is it called? Why would you worry?
No, it's Why Should I Worry?
Why should I? Okay. So I'm going to give it a 2 just because that does show a lot of the city during that song. So I am going to give it a 2.
Thinking of the locations and whatnot, I'm gonna give it a 4.
Hmm.
Oh my goodness. This has to
Yeah. I'm gonna go with a 4.
this has to get some serious points for me, or it's not going to pass Fantasia.
if it is worse than Fantasia, that would be wild.
It would be wild.
But I'm going to give it a 7 for the reasons of you get to see multiple different viewpoints, or you could almost say living points in New York. It's all supposed to be taking place in New York, so you get to see the bottom of the worst, which is with the guy whose name I can't remember.
Fagin.
The almost, yeah, him. So you got that one. Then you have like the kind of, they're rich because you see their attire, what they drive, but you know they're shady because they're always in the darker places. Everything with them is in a dark alley or a dark warehouse, or the car is darkly lit. Like you can't see them in any light, but you know they're, you know, up there because of how they drive and how they carry them, like what they drive, what they wear, how they carry themselves. Then you get just the regular part of New York City, the everyday people looking over, you know, the littlest things, you know, the little people being the cat, no one noticing, just whatever, just out there. You have like the ones who are basically getting by day to day, doing what they can to grab whatever pieces they can, being Dodger. And then you even get to see like a little bit of the higher up area with it, with the, her name was Emily, right?
Jenny.
Okay. I don't know where I got Emily from. Either way though. Jenny and, you know, her family, you get to see like the higher up part of it. So you get to see a lot of different parts of New York. So with that, I'm like, I actually think it did pretty decent on world building. So 7.
I am going to tell you that you did a very good job explaining all that to where I've jumped up from a 2 to a 5.
Let's get it.
Because that is a very good point. They did show a very diverse world, which New York City definitely has a very diverse world.
You can go from the sanest to the insanest.
So next up is the emotional impact. It's always sad when an animal doesn't get adopted, and then he was getting rained on top of it to make it worse.
Then he got he got drain piped until almost drowning.
Oh man, yeah, that would have been bad.
And then he got chased by dogs that were looking at him like that's a snack. To where the only coverage he found was to sleep on a tire of a car.
Which is actually really common. They tell you in the winter to always check your tires.
Yes. Check your engine, check everything. Oliver telling them that he was happy with Jenny was tough because he was being honest with them, but he was basically telling them that they weren't his home anymore or his family. And
which, that angered me, I'm not gonna lie.
And then Dodger's ass tried gaslighting him into staying.
See, like, I can't... That scene is so hard because it's like... It makes me cringe, but not in the way of like, oh man, that's really like, cringy. It's like, because it's a tough situation. You know, all he's ever wanted was a home, like, you know, his brothers and sisters got. He got a little bit of a home with them, but it's not like, you know, wasn't as, you know, great, but he felt comfort with them. He felt like he was taken in. Then he got taken into a really nice home, someone that really treated him with care, and someone he saw was like, you know, really loved him and he loved her. They kind of grew to each other and almost felt like they both needed each other. She had neglect from her parents. He didn't really have a full home that he could call his home.
Yeah,
he only really met them for a day, and it's the same with her. But it's like just the two different ones, and it's like he got that comfort, he got that love and support with her, and so he grew to really like that. And then bringing him back, it's like you see he's stumbling over his words because it's a hard thing. It's like it's not like it's anything against them. It's just like that's a really nice place that he was at, and they basically just said, "No, we're bringing you back here." So it's like I can't be mad, but it's like it's such a hard scene to watch because it's like what do you how it's not an easy decision. I don't feel like it's an easy decision to make when you're put in that kind of predicament.
It's kind of hard to be mad at either side because you see it from both sides on where that would be hurtful to both parties.
Mm-hmm.
Dequan, what were you saying? Sorry.
I was gonna say I'm not gonna hold you. I'm the outlier here. I am 100% mad at Oliver for his decision because it definitely, like, I get that it is a hard decision for him to make. I do get that, but like, you're telling me that, like, and I know that he's not saying this. I know that nobody's not saying this, which is let me speak on it. Like, so the love that all the other dogs and that the other guy gave just did not amount nearly as much as the love that she gave because she gave you food. Like,
starving
dude gave you
is not
dude
great.
gave you home. He gave you home. He gave you brothers and sisters. He read you a nighttime story and everything like that. She played the piano with you and fed you some food.
Well, see, that's where you're also minimizing a little bit of, I think. She didn't just give him food. She gave him comfort, gave him a possibly warm place to be. I mean, it's hard to tell. I mean, the only basis is that area where he's at, you know, the house was like very bright with like warm colors. So it would make you think warm. And then the underground part where it was like the docks, you know, it's colored in blue coloring and it's by water, which both of those symbolize to more colder type environment. He also was given a name. He was taken to multiple places. He was repeatedly held, basically carried and played with. So there's multiple factors that would make him want to stay there. Also to the fact that he is still a child. He's still a kid.
Yeah, I will give you that he's still a kid, but a lot of those things you named off are not too different from how the gang and the guy treated him as well. The guy was always picking him up and carrying him and letting him sleep in his lap. He even crawled in the bed and slept with Dodger, who I assume, all assumption here, assumed that he looked at as a older brother.
Yeah, but
and then the other dogs who always looked out for him as well.
You never know how much of a bond him and Jenny formed to where you can't explain the level of passion there. It's just there.
You're absolutely.
Oh, sorry, go on.
I was gonna say you're absolutely right on that, but what we are given is the bond that he built with the Doc gang.
It's also like he kind of. So they're both about equal. It's why he had a hard time trying to decide between the two. Like, he's like, I was happy there, but he was saying he was happy there, but he was like also trying to not be like rude to them. He wasn't just like, how dare you, you know, snapping at them.
Yeah.
He was just like shocked, like what the heck just happened? I was in a nice, warm, comfy place, and now I got pulled back here. What the heck happened, guys?
Yeah, I agree with you on that. Like, I agree with you, but I don't think that it was a hard time for him to decide at all. Like, his mind was made up. He just wanted them to understand that he didn't mean any disrespect to them.
It's also kind of like when he goes into the bed with Dodger, he had to bring himself there, right? So he makes the move to go to the bed to get comfy next to him. Jenny brought him to the bed, put him up, tucked him in herself, and then, you know, laid in the bed next to him as well. So it's like he had to seek a comfort that was allowed while Jenny gave him the comfort.
You are right with that. And the mirror or parallel to that is Fagin picks him up, sits him in his lap, makes him warm, reads him a story so he can go to sleep in his lap. So, like, it's a parallel there too.
I mean, even if you just take it to the simplest form, with Jenny, he has a reliable shelter, a constant flow of food.
Yeah, that's kind of, I would say I think the biggest factor is the fact that Jenny's Jenny's a younger individual around, you know, his age. I would say not exactly his age, but, you know, they're both kids and the reliable source of food. I feel like that's the biggest factor of the situation. Everyone else in the other home was much older than him.
Moving on to another scene that was, I think, pretty powerful is when Jenny is talking to Fagin about Oliver, and and Fagin realizes that he has this little girl's cat, and he's holding him from her for ransom, and he has to juggle what he has to decide here because he needs the money or he's going to die. But he also feels for this little girl who's just looking for her cat, and that's kind of powerful.
Something that's really cool about that scene too is, I don't know if you guys pay attention to this at all. The cool thing about this is no one never considered, well, I would say Fagin. Fagin never considered Oliver to just be a stray cat. And I think that's why he was more accepting of giving Oliver back to Jenny. Because he never knew who Oliver belonged to. So when he finally sees that somebody has claimed him, or he sees the person that's looking for Oliver, in his mind he's probably thinking that this has always been her cat.
Maybe.
Which furthers the point of wanting him to do it even more.
Maybe.
I think the thing is he's also not thinking this is a kid's cat. He's thinking this is a adult's cat.
Mm-hmm.
Like they just got this cat. And so the second, because he didn't even know why the girl, why she was there. Like, what are you doing here? Still looking for a cat. And he's like, oh no, I took a kid's cat, not an adult's cat. Oh, it's even worse.
Right.
And obviously he wants to do the right thing and give it back to her, but he knows by doing that, he's dead.
Which he decided to dig in his very, very expensive bag of nothing and decides to do the right thing.
So I am giving this movie a 7 out of 10 for emotional impact.
I am going to give it... I'm fighting myself on a 9 and an 8, but I'm going to give it an 8 because it definitely made me feel rage, it made me feel suspense, and it did make me feel sadness. And most of my sadness came from Fagin. Like, I just hated seeing that dude in such a tough pinch. But at the same time, I hated the fact that they never explained to us why did he take the loan and how much was the loan, or how did he even get into ties with this guy.
Right. Maybe that's what the Saturday morning cartoon was going to be about.
Would have been great, honestly. Would have been great. Would have been great to have that context.
I'm going with a 6.
A 6. And for anyone wondering, Kevin is saving his voice because of his sickness. So if you're missing some love from Kevin, just know he's resting up to come back stronger than ever. Mike.
Yeah, I'm muted and coughing most of this time.
Oof.
I'm going to give it a 7. Feeling a lot of 7s.
A lot of 7s. All right, next up. What is next up? Message and theme. And as always, I got to go to ChatGPT to tell me what it is.
As the message and theme is family, where this is like, their home and family is wherever you make it.
Well,
or some crap like that.
It says the central message of Oliver and Company revolves around the idea that true friendship and family can be found in unexpected places.
I was close.
Throughout the story, Oliver learns the value of loyalty, trust, and the sense of belonging that comes with true friendship.
That's cap. Bro does not know loyalty. He completely turned his back
the movie
for a warmer house and more food.
The movie also touches on social issues as it portrays the struggles of the characters living in the harsh realities of the urban environment. Despite the challenges they face, the characters demonstrate resilience and the power of positive connections.
I agree with that, though.
Ultimately, Oliver and Company carries a message of hope and the belief of genuine bonds can be formed, transcending differences in background and circumstances.
Okay, I agree with that one. That's good. That's good stuff.
Yeah.
I think that gets that message off pretty well, despite what you think about the loyalty part of it.
Absolutely. That cat has no loyalty.
5. And I'll
What?
What?
What? I'm in the same boat.
Explain.
it gets it across when you read it, but just watching it, that's not what I'm getting from it.
Okay, that kind of makes sense then. It's like the fact that you would have to look it up to understand. Yeah, I can.
I think I understood it pretty well. I just worded it poorly.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's why your score is going to be higher.
My score is going to be a solid 1. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. My score would be a 7. If he was a little bit more loyal, then probably would have been a 9.
I think it was plenty loyal.
I think so
And
too.
as Joey says, that's why your score would be higher than mine.
Oh no, it's not gonna be higher. I'm just saying I think he actually was loyal. Because Joey, I'm gonna be real, it probably would have been, but Joey made a good point. The fact that you have to basically, to understand the full meaning, you need to go look it up. Means it doesn't necessarily portray it like, it doesn't portray it as easily understood.
Mm-hmm. Kevin or
Kevin?
Mike, who wants to give their score next?
Going with a 7.
Ooh.
I think that's your highest number yet, Kevin.
It is.
It's the only one that's gonna get the high number. I'm going with a 6.
Nice. I think I'll change mine to a 6 too. 5 might have been a low.
We joined the S gang.
Okay.
Nice. So the last category is legacy. I don't remember ever watching this movie as a kid, but crazy enough, I have a super deep, just it was waiting to come out, of the scene of Fagin on the dock with the car. And I remember being in someone's basement and that scene was playing, and that's all I remember. And I don't think I knew that this movie was playing at the time, so it literally clicked when watching it for this. I was like, I've seen this before in someone's basement, as weird as that sounds. I don't think there was anything overly offensive to give it a negative impact on its legacy. I don't think.
I mean, it didn't get a warning.
I mean, Tito, I guess, was, you can say he was stereotypical, but he was played by Cheech, who is always playing that character. So
Here's the thing. It didn't get a warning in the beginning of the movie.
it didn't. Did The Great Mouse Detective? Because there was some risky stuff in The Great Mouse Detective.
Okay, but is it risky as in it's dark, or risky as in ooh, that's kind of bad, like it Lady and the Tramp with the cats?
In Great Mouse Detective, it was the mouse taking her clothes off and talking about taking her clothes off. Not
well,
great.
see, that's just I mean, you could say that's not great, and I won't make it long, but that's not a overly oh man, that's just that's again into the more darker part, because I mean that is a thing. That's a thing. There is dancing like that.
Yeah. I just
Especially for the time and place.
I just don't think there's anything overly offensive in this movie that would negatively impact its legacy.
If anything, it might just be like Dino said, Tito.
Yeah.
Your score?
I don't know. Because I never seen it. I never cared to see it. No one ever talks about it except for your friend at work.
Yeah,
So a 2.
So I'm gonna give it a 5, and the only reason I'm giving it a 5 It's because isn't it based off of Oliver or something?
Oliver Twist.
Oliver Twist.
Yeah, and that's a legacy in itself. It's based off another legacy thing, so I gotta give it a little bit of a bump.
Hmm.
Because yeah, like isn't like because one of my coworkers, she was telling me, well, my sous chef was telling me that read the book, watch the play, then watch this movie. And I'm in my head, I'm like, I'm not doing all that. But she said that it will make a much bigger impact on how I feel about it and everything like that if I did that. I was like, no, 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 no. So yeah, that's the reason why I give it a 5 for legacy.
Um, hmm. I am gonna go with a 3.
Nice. And the last score of the movie goes to Mike.
And unfortunately, this is going to be a low one.
Hmm.
Because, well, yes, it is based off of something. I had never even heard of that until today. I don't even know what that is about. And now I've also heard there is a play and a book. That's like, I never heard of this. And this movie is very much a underrated movie, I would say, as they've never really done anything with it to my knowledge for any parks, merchandise, things like that. It has very catchy songs, and I personally think it's very well made. It's a very underground movie that doesn't have a lot to it. So for me, I think the legacy hits at a 3.
So I had never heard of Oliver Twist. Well, I've heard of Oliver Twist, but I have no idea what it is. I just know that it's a thing. Fun fact, it was the second novel by English author Charles Dickens. And it was written in the 1800s. That's fun. If anyone cared. So I don't think it's going to be a stretch to guess who had the lowest score this week.
Yeah.
And it was me with a 41. So it is above Bambi, Fantasia, and those movies down there.
By how much?
By like, well, Fantasia is a 37, so it's got it by 4. So it's a decent amount. And then next up is, which still continues to shock me, that Kevin is more often than not the third lowest score. Or the second lowest score, I guess, with a 50. And then we got Dequan with a 60 and Mike with a 62.
Huh, I thought I was going to be in the 70s. I'm not going to lie.
Well, the comedy, the humor and the legacy didn't help.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Again, we say it all the time, which is why these scores don't really affect how we feel about the movie, because this wasn't a comedy. So judging it off of humor isn't the most fair thing to do.
You're still going to do it anyways.
Yes.
You're still going to do it. It might not be fair, but oh well.
So we're going into Bell's fan fiction section, and I read a theory that Tramp and Dodger are so similar in personality and look that there has to be some sort of shared genes there.
Well, there are two different dogs. It could be, what am I thinking? Like, oh, that's like, it could be like his great grandfather. But they both have very similar story. They both, well, no, Dodgers doesn't turn out exactly like how.
No, the theory that I said, it was like where one takes the path of being more honorable and distinguished, I guess. I don't know. I don't remember the exact words. Like they have similar personalities that go different routes. And they're both terriers, so they could be cousins very far removed.
That's weird. I'm like thinking about like they don't look alike at all.
They're both
Mannerisms, they
terriers.
definitely are. They do not look the same at all.
Well, because they're different colors, but if you think about dog breeds, they're both terriers of some sort.
No, I'm talking about build and everything. Like the I can't remember his name from Lady and the Tramp.
Tramp. Or are you talking
I thought
about...
he had a name.
No, it was Tramp.
Nah, it was Tramp.
It was just Tramp? Okay. Tramp, like, he looks like he's got more, like, length on his legs than Dodger does. Dodger looks like he's thicker in body and even a bigger head.
Well, they're both mutts.
So the thing is, there are different forms of terriers, and some terriers are built like that, and some are not.
And they're both mutts, so after you remove cousins enough, you get multiple different gene pools getting mixed in there. I mean, it's a far
different time periods.
Yeah. I mean,
Like
Oliver
for
and Company
example,
takes place in the 80s, and who knows when Lady and the Tramp takes place. They didn't even have cars. So did they have cars? Maybe they did. Very old cars.
But like Mike, for example, Denali is a Yorkshire Terrier, and then there's a Jack Russell Terrier. They're drastically different in appearance.
Actually, I think I know of Jack Russell Terrier because I think my uncle might have had one before.
Right, but they're
I'm
both
thinking
terriers,
correctly.
but they look vastly different.
Yeah, I'm going
That is true.
I'm going to say that I'm not going to think of that as headcanon, but that's literally the first thing that I've seen in a long time when I look up fan theories.
That's his BFF.
Maybe.
I think if it was like an inspiration, like maybe he, witnessed someone who is just like that and picked up the mannerisms, I would agree more with that. But being like they have to be like related, I don't think that would be the case.
And we're going to jump into Riley's emotions because we are running out of time here, so we got to be a little quick.
Yeah, we got a spear on boys.
So, what is everyone's favorite and least favorite moment of the movie, Dequan?
Favorite moment of the movie? Oh, when they were all no. Favorite moment of the movie? They're all inside the house in the movie, enjoying their times, and they're like cheering on the wrestling match. Least favorite moment of the movie? Oliver leaving his gang to go live with Jenny.
Dang. That's rough.
Okay. Favorite is the story time.
See that?
And least favorite is Georgette. When we're introduced to her.
Mikey?
Favorite moment is when Oliver sees Dodger go into his bed and he decides he wants to, get in the bed with him, basically, like, and then Dodger looks and he looks at the kid doing it and he's like, I'm gonna let that be. I'm okay with this. And I was like, that's kind of like this, rough around the edges guy, he's got a good heart. He's a good guy. And it was just kind of like a wholesome, cute moment, I thought. And my least favorite moment, and it comes a lot with context, and I understand why it was done, why he did it, but when I always forget his name, the homeless guy,
Fagin.
Yeah, okay, there we go. I want to see if I can remember that. But when he picks up the cat and he's looking at it, and he sees the name tag, he's like, "Oh, I can make money off this by taking this animal hostage." I'm like, it's not a good look. I understand the position he's in. I understand why he did it. I don't hold it against him, but it's probably my least favorite moment in the movie because it's like,
right.
That or when they bring Oliver back and he has to be like, guys, I was happy there because it's just such a rough scene to witness. I'll put that one actually. I'll put that one because it's so rough to to watch that kind of have to unfold that way.
Yeah. So my favorite is, I think, pretty obvious from the way I was talking about it. The piano scene with the 360 panning. Just loved that scene. And then least favorite is also pretty obvious. That specific part of the final chase when they're coming out of the warehouse. Hated it. Everyone's favorite and least favorite song. There's not many, so I'll just do mine real quick. Obviously, Why Should I Worry is my favorite, and I'll just say Georgette's is my least favorite.
I will say Georgette's is my favorite, and I don't have a least favorite.
Georgette's is your favorite? Wow.
Yeah, I really messed with that song. I was not expecting to like it.
Okay.
Joey and I are on the same page. Why Should I Worry is my favorite, and my least favorite's Georgette's.
Nice.
Favorite is going to be Why Should I Worry? I mean, can't even deny it.
Mm-hmm.
But least favorite. This is going to be weird, but I'm going to do it anyways because it'll be kind of funny too. I'm putting Why Should We Worry as my least favorite. Because it's taking a song that's already good, really good, very enjoyable to listen, and then making it not very much I want to listen to that.
That's valid.
Like, I don't want to listen to this. You basically took something good and ruined it, almost in a way. Like, you're like, hey, you have a nice thing of spaghetti here. You got Parmesan cheese, right? Yeah. Okay, so now we made that, but we lessened the sauce by like 70%, and we took away your cheese. Excuse me?
Everyone's favorite and least favorite character, Dequan. Let's see who you say.
Favorite character. I'm gonna go with Rita. I just like how 100% accepting she was of any of Oliver's choices and looking out for him.
Right.
And least favorite character has to be the Loan Shark. Like, come on now. Do suck.
Kevin.
Favorite's Tito. And least favorite is Georgette.
It's fair. Mike.
This is hard. Not who my favorite character I would say is, but who my least favorite is. Because I'm gonna be honest, I like all the characters in this. I can't think of one who I'm like, I don't like this character. Even the bad guys, they're good bad guys. Like, they're all good.
Mm-hmm.
Favorite is Rita. I liked her from the moment I saw her, and then, you know, just the fact that she was kind, caring, understanding, supportive. She's kind of just like, she's goated all around for everyone, not just like Oliver, but like all her friends and everyone. If I were to say least favorite, having to pick one, who was the poodle dog's name?
Georgette.
Georgette.
Georgette. I think I'll do Georgette because it was either Georgette or Francis.
Wow.
Francis actually had some funny moment. Well, the reason is because Francis didn't really do much in my mind. Like, when I think back to it, I'm like, he didn't really do much.
That Great Dane didn't either.
Yeah, but I
They were
found
kinda
the
just
Great
there.
Dane at least like more of like chill. Like, he's okay. As Francis sometimes annoyed me with his over eccentric theatrics
Yeah, that's
sometimes.
So my favorite,
And then when he was getting at my
sorry.
man, no, I was gonna say when he was getting at my man Tito about being happy in love. Stop hating, bro. Stop hating.
So my favorite is Tito. Tito's just fantastic. And then my least favorite, I'm going to give an honorable mention to Jenny's parents, but they're never seen, so I'm not going to count them as characters.
Fair.
They suck. So I think I think I'm going to give it to Fagin, actually, as my least favorite. That's
Poor
pretty
Fag.
mean. I don't know about that. Because he makes a huge decision at the end to sacrifice his life for that kid's cat. Man. The butler, Winston. Don't like that guy. So, with that, we go into Jeannie's Inbox Extravaganza, and you wouldn't believe it. We have no emails. So, if you want to have any questions answered by us, just email us at themagicofanimation@gmail.com. It's real easy. You just go on Gmail or whatever your email provider is, type that in, and then type out your question, and we'll read it and probably answer it. Unless it's a bad question.
We'll answer that off script.
So, with that, this has been Oliver and Company. Dequan, can the people find you anywhere?
Oh, I don't really use too many socials like that, so
Yep.
not really.
Kevin and Mike, you guys still radio silent?
Elusive.
Yep. So you can find me on TikTok and Instagram at People Call Me Joey with underscores in between each word, and I also have a second podcast called Beyond the Castle, so you can listen to that after you listen to this one. And you can find the show on pretty much every social media that we are on, obviously, at TMOA underscore pod, TMOA underscore POD. And then you can also find us on YouTube with the same name, right, Mike?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Cool.
TMOA.
This has been Oliver and Company. The next episode will be our bonus episode discussing the Bronze Age, the last 9 movies that we've watched, and discussing the best and the worst of each of those. And then we're in the big dogs. We are at the Disney Renaissance. That's insane. The Little Mermaid is the next movie we will be watching.
Okay, yep, we're gonna hit below. We're gonna hit below and moving.
I just want to be part of your world.
I don't want anyone part of my world. Stay out.
What was I gonna say? I don't remember. So we'll just move on. So yeah, thanks for listening, and see you next week. And remember, they all lived happily ever animated.
Except Dodger.
TMOA pod.
What a wild outro.